Hello everyone, I'm Tarun, machine learning enthusiast and avid Kaggle. In this episode, we're going to cover how to build a machine learning model to detect skin cancer from images. A little bit about the problem we're trying to solve and the key challenges we're going to face while trying to solve this problem. Okay, cool. So, we're trying to build a machine learning model, an image classification model, which is able to automatically detect a type of skin cancer called melanoma. Okay, so melanoma is a particular type of skin cancer which is characterized by large brown or pinkish patches on the skin. These patches usually originate from small moles or marks, and melanoma is only one type of skin cancer. There are several types of skin cancer, but for this particular project, we're only going to focus on detecting melanoma. I think detecting melanoma is definitely a very important problem to solve because automatic diagnosis can reduce a lot of burden on the doctors and will give them more time to focus on helping patients actually cure their problems. And that's the reason why there is so much momentum in the direction of automatic diagnosis and trying to make it as accurate as possible. So, what's the problem statement here? We have an image of someone's skin, right? We have an image of someone's skin, and we want to pass that into a machine learning model and get a 0 or a 1 as output, right? So 0 represents not having skin cancer, and the 1 represents having skin cancer. So our model is actually going to perform a bunch of mathematical computations on this image, and it's going to give us a probability between 0 and 1, indicating how likely it is that this particular person has melanoma, right? So that's the problem we're trying to solve. And for this particular project, we're going to be using a data set that I found on Kaggle, and it was curated by this organization called SIIM. They do some great work on medical imaging using artificial intelligence, and they recently posted this competition on Kaggle called Melanoma Classification, where they gave 33,000 skin images to all participants for training. And out of these 33,000 images, approximately 32,000 images were 0 samples, which means 32,000 samples did not have melanoma, and the remaining 600 samples were ones, which means they had melanoma, right? As you can see, this data set is extremely imbalanced, which means the number of samples in one class is drastically different from the number of samples in another class. And this is a very common problem in classification tasks in machine learning. And it's a problem because the underrepresented class is not seen as often as the overrepresented class, which means that the model is biased and it won't be able to detect the underrepresented class with great accuracy. So if we just randomly sample images from this imbalanced data set and pass it through the model, it will not learn to adequately detect melanoma images because it's not seen a lot of them. So to combat this problem, we're going to use a simple technique called weighted sampling. Weighted sampling. So let's say we had a batch of 512 images. Okay. Ideally, we want 256 positive images and 256 negative images. 256 positive images and 256 negative images approximately. This is what you would call a balanced batch of data because there are equal number of both classes. But the problem with this technique is we will quickly run out of positive images because we have only 600 positive images and we cannot keep sampling both classes at exactly the same rate. So what we need to do is continuously resample positive examples, which means keep repeating the melanoma examples that we've already input to the model in the past. So this is a very simple, naive sort of data augmentation approach, which lets us pass in balanced batches of data to the neural network. So now, since we are passing the same number of melanoma and non-melanoma examples to the neural network, it will be able to classify both melanoma and non-melanoma images with good accuracy, both the zeros and the ones. So with this simple technique, we are able to balance the batches of data and make sure the model adequately learns how to classify both classes. So now, since we have a good sampling procedure in place, let's actually try to understand which model we're going to use for this particular project. So the model I've chosen is called EfficientNet. EfficientNet is a type of CNN, which stands for convolutional neural network, right? You can think of a CNN as a general purpose visual neural network because it's very good at classifying images, detecting objects in images, understanding video. It's a specially designed architecture to deal with visual information. So over the last few years, researchers have been coming up with bigger and bigger CNNs with more layers and higher resolution to continuously push the state of the art on the ImageNet benchmark. Like, for example, we had ResNet, we had VGGNet before that, etc. Right? We have a lot of new CNN based networks that are trying to push the state of the art. But what EfficientNet does is it uses a very smart network scaling, approach, which allows it to achieve the same or even better accuracy than these massively oversized CNNs with orders of magnitude fewer parameters. So it's able to match the performance of these CNNs which have much more parameters than itself. How is it able to do this? So the folks at Google Brain came up with a really smart way to scale the height, depth, width and image resolution of CNNs in order to optimize the number of parameters and maximize performance. So they found a specific way to scale the dimensions of a neural network so that the number of parameters goes down drastically, but the performance of the neural network, which means its accuracy on ImageNet, is almost the same or even better. So that's what makes it EfficientNet, because it's able to achieve the same or even better performance with much less parameters and compute. And it's also been shown that EfficientNet is an excellent choice for fine-tuning, which means you can apply EfficientNet to your own downstream tasks and it will be able to generalize to new datasets very easily. So now, since we have a model which we're going to train, EfficientNet, we need to somehow take this pre-trained model and adapt it to our tasks. What we're going to do is very simple. We're going to take EfficientNet, right? We're going to pass an image into it. Let's say this is a skin image. We're going to pass it into EfficientNet, and EfficientNet is going to give us a vector of features, a 2560 dimensional vector of features. So all EfficientNet does is takes this image, does a bunch of processing, computations, and it gives this 2560 dimensional vector, which is a latent representation of this image. And now, since we have a two-dimensional matrix representing the image features, all we need to do is pass this through a 1 neuron dense layer, okay, 1 neuron dense, right, followed by 1 neuron dense layer followed by a sigmoid. So all these features which are computed by EfficientNet are passed through a 1 neuron dense layer and a sigmoid. This will give us a probability from 0 to 1, which is exactly what we want. Now all we need to do is train our modeling pipeline on this data set of 33,000 melanoma images. So now since we have a clear idea of how we're going to sample the data and train the model, we can get down to the implementation part, actually implementing our melanoma classifier. For this particular implementation, I'm going to be using PyTorch, which is my favorite deep learning library for several reasons. So let's get straight to it.